We have developed speed, but we have shut ourselves in. Machinery that gives abundance has left us in want. We think too much and feel too little. More than machinery, we need humanity.
We know the air is unfit to breathe and our food is unfit to eat. As if that's the way it's supposed to be. We know things are bad, worse than bad. They're crazy.
Silence! The great and powerful Oz knows why you have come.
You've got to say, I'm a human being. God damn it. My life has value.
You have meddled with the primal forces of nature.
Don't give yourselves to brutes, men who despise you, enslave you, who regiment your lives, tell you what to do, what to think, or what to feel, who drill you, diet you, treat you like cattle, use you as cannon fodder. Don't give yourselves to these unnatural men with machine minds and machine hearts.
With Jason Bermas.
And who loves you? And who do you love?
Good morning, everybody, and let's get disenfranchised. Now, the majority of the first hour is really going to be looking at this new indictment phenomenon, the reality surrounding what is happening in the 2024 election, in the Biden administration, and with the Trump cases, in my humble opinion, of course. And then we're going to talk some Epstein news that may or may not be real, is an exclusive to this news aggregate a day ago, and is making a big claim about the FBI wanting to keep certain documents classified, asking a judge to keep them under wraps in a possible Ghislaine Maxwell retrial. A retrial for Ghislaine. Weird. Wonder if there might be a rebranding. It's just odd how so much hype surrounds a lot of this stuff, and it appears like you get justice. Like with the Smollett case. And then how much time did Smollett do for what he did? Just odd the way things work, right? So that's mainly the first hour. Second hour, more disinformation discs. Now, yesterday I didn't really get to cover, and even today, I'll be honest with you, I really didn't get to cover as much of the hearing as I wanted, because I continually interject because it's just such garbled nonsense. Nothing new. I didn't hear anything new. Okay, and the second hour is pre-recorded, but it was recorded actually early this morning, where I went over the beginnings of those hearings. We do a little watch along. Now, we've already watched, for instance, the opening statements, so we skip over those when they come up. But before the opening statements, it's these diatribes by a bunch of unimpressive losers, in my opinion, that are saying the same exact things that you could hear on some 2 a.m. Discovery Channel show, that you could see or hear on Ancient Aliens on the History Channel, run on marathons every weekend. Same exact stuff. Just total and complete trash, in my opinion. So the disenfranchise, first part, disinformation discs. Second part, RVMRumble.com or their Rumble is where you're going to be able to exclusively see that. Let me repeat that. You're going to be able to exclusively see it where? Over at the RVMRumble.com. It'll get posted on my other stuff later today, but as you guys know, that's the spot for Wednesdays. But let's get it started. Let's play this clip of the indictment by this Jack character. I think I'm just going to refer to him as Jackie Boy. Because even what he says here, I'm like scratching my head about the phrasing and what exactly they're charging Donnie T and the gang with. All right, when we're talking about January 6th, which I don't believe was an insurrection. It's obviously not an insurrection. I covered it live. I covered the DC rallies, the Stop the Steal rallies in December. There's never talks anywhere, even on the peripheral, of an armed insurrection into the Capitol building. And you tell me who was armed. And what really bothers me is most people think that's in the background, other than what's happening to Donnie T. No, they're charging more and more people with crimes that didn't even go into the Capitol. What? And it's always going to be guilt by association, which is extremely dangerous. And now, unbeknownst to me, I don't know when this was codified into law, but apparently the word disenfranchised, if you participate in it, you are a criminal. And I've never heard this before in my life as a crime. We're going to get into it in a moment. But let's play old Jackie Boy here on the new Trumpy Trump indictments. He looks very important. Look at him. Yes. He doesn't want to do this. The bag's under his eyes.
Good evening. Today, an indictment was unsealed, charging Donald J. Trump with conspiring to defraud the United States, conspiring to disenfranchise voters, and conspiring and attempting to obstruct an official proceeding.
Conspiring to disenfranchise, I just don't get it. I want to stop it there because let's read this. Now, I looked this up, and I could probably just go to an old school dictionary. But seriously, since when did the word disenfranchise become a crime? Like conspiring to disenfranchise voters. First of all, I don't believe he did that. Like they're saying that he was disenfranchising voters because he was saying the system's rigged. Everybody has a right to say that, including the President of the United States. The meaning, okay, it used to be a feeling in a person or group of having no power or opportunities or not being represented in the political system. Now, that totally sucks. It's not a crime. I feel disenfranchised and have for an extremely long time on numerous levels since discovering the truth about 9/11. And you realize that you should feel disenfranchised because you no longer live in a constitutional republic of checks and balances, but you live in a corrupt state, which is a puppet of the predator class run through the military-industrial complex that Eisenhower warned you about. I am very disenfranchised. Can I charge anybody with that? Now, the new definition has morphed into depriving someone of the right to vote. Which, again, Donnie T did not do, nor speak. I don't think he told anybody not to vote. But it's this new terminology, this new speak, conspiring to disenfranchise. We're going to continue with this in a moment. I do want to say Jesse Waters did a good breakdown. We're going to play part of that. I don't love Waters either. But just think how insane this is. That you're charging a president and you're going to try him in D.C. By the way, the judge is like, let's get to the judge. Where's that? That's right here. Who oversees Trump criminal is toughest punisher of the January 6th rioters, at least they didn't say insurrectionists, and worked for a law firm associated with Hunter Biden. So the judge they're giving him for this case, and remember, everybody on the Trump side of things who just like 64D chess and white hats and still in control and yada, 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 and deals are being cut, blah, blah, blah. No. All those people were saying, well, the judge was appointed by Trump in Florida. So this espionage case, of course. And then he asked for it, to be moved? And it doesn't get moved. It's in August. And I keep saying they want these trials running during primary season so the talking points can continue that you can't give him the nomination. It makes it easier for rigging. And now with the D.C. case, and again, I've never been a walls are closing in guy. That's not what this is about. This is about them legitimately trying to put this guy in prison. You think this judge is going to, or a jury that they put in there is going to have any sympathy for Donnie T? They are, first of all, let's talk about who the jury's going to be. Everybody knows about family members of the establishment or people that work in government or all that stuff. How about the ones that they pretend don't work in government but are part of the signature reduction program? I mean, how many spooks and spook assets do you think they've already put on these juries in the case of the Proud Boys or the Oath Keepers? Now, this is speculation. I'm going to see, this is where Jason says that's speculation because I can't prove it. I would say this, I doubt the number is 0. I really do. That none of these people that have been on the juries are some type of an informant or asset or worse. I would doubt the number is 0. That's all I'm going to say. Call me kooky. Call me nutty. And what? You don't think they would stack the jury here on Johnny? And I get it. These charges are a joke. They're not real. Doesn't matter. We're in the unreality, everybody. We're disenfranchised. Talk about disenfranchisement. It's things like this that do disenfranchise voters. Let's get back to it. But again, is that a crime?
The indictment was issued by a grand jury of citizens here in the District of Columbia, and it sets forth the crimes charged in detail. I encourage everyone to read it in full. The attack on our nation's capital on January 6th, 2021 was an unprecedented assault on the seat of American democracy.
The dumbest thing I've ever... I keep hearing the same talking points. No, it wasn't. That's ridiculous. This guy is out of control. And everybody's going to talk about... He's going to talk about how the people, the police there, and et cetera, they're the very best of us. Well, I'll tell you what. The guy that shot Ashley Babbitt, he ain't the very best of us. It's insane.
As described in the indictment, it was fueled by lies. Lies by the defendant targeted at obstructing a bedrock function of the U.S. government, the nation's process of collecting, counting, and certifying the results of the presidential election.
So again, this is honestly, a lot of this is Trump's fault that he allowed it to get this far. He should have stood up for Alex Jones when he started getting deplatformed. He should have taken away the immunity of social media to be sued once they were very, very clearly censoring people and becoming a publisher. Okay, because all this stems from speech issues. And really the speech issue here is you're not allowed to question the electoral process. And you did. And now we're calling you a liar in an inversion of reality, okay? And now we're charging you with crimes, and we intend to put you in prison.
The men and women of law enforcement who defended the U.S. Capitol on January 6th are heroes. They are patriots, and they are the very best of us. They did not just defend a building or the people sheltering in it. They put their lives on the line to defend who we are as a country and as a people.
I just want to say this, and none of this obviously happened. But let's say, a group of armed individuals went into the Capitol, took it over, injured, killed people, law enforcement, took over the building. I mean, a group, let's say of 50, 100, 500, doesn't even matter. Okay, but they did. Once they had the Capitol building, how do they take over the government? How do they take over democracy? Even if they had hostages in Congress and Senate, how does that work that all of a sudden they're in charge and control? That's ridiculous. That's the dumbest thing ever. That's not real either. Like, come on. Like, what are you... Like, if it were 1,000,000 times worse than the expanded Dave Matthews Band experience, we still wouldn't be in that reality. Okay? Let's go back to Jackie boy.
They defended the very institutions and principles that define the United States. Since the attack on our Capitol, the Department of Justice has remained committed to ensuring accountability for those criminally responsible for what happened that day. This case is brought consistent with that commitment.
We're going to stop. We're going to come back to them because there's still like a minute left to this, and I can't help but stop it. We're going to go to a word from our sponsor. One of those people that this guy wants to make into a criminal. So he's part of a coup d'etat. Loves it when big billion-dollar software proprietary voting company machines sue him to death. Yeah, that's great. We love Jack Smith. He's the best.
When I invented MyPillow, my passion was to help each and every one of you. And 20 years later, all of your support is what keeps us going. Because of you, we've been able to create thousands of USA jobs and help millions get the best sleep ever. To thank you, my employees and I are bringing you a limited edition MyPillow. The Giza Elegance MyPillow is made with my patented adjustable fill, the most amazing cotton, and a 2-inch pipe gusset. It has 4 custom loft levels, machine washable and dryable, and you get my 60-day money-back guarantee and 10-year warranty.
Go to mypillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code to get your limited edition 20th anniversary MyPillow queen size. Retails for $69.98, now only $19.98. That's right, get a queen size MyPillow for only $19.98.
From all of us here at MyPillow,
Thumbs up, subscribe, and share. Remember, the second hour, especially today, you want to watch it live. It's going to be exclusively over at rvmrumble.com. Go give them a follow over on Rumble. Just got that sweet, sweet Rumble payout of $105 over the last several months. I'll say this. At least Rumble kind of pays for itself, and I have like the $25 package. You have to have at least the 10 to do the live streaming and certain bandwidth. I want unlimited bandwidth and the ability to put out more channels under this banner, et cetera, grow the situation. So, hey, at least it pays for itself. You know, still very much not making a dollar on YouTube. Again, YouTube is here to bring other people to other platforms. So hopefully they watch more of my content that is now aggressively more hardcore in the second hour just because of the way things are here. I mean, again, we're in the unreality. Who knows how far you're going to be able to take questioning elections on a platform like this that's a Trojan horse civilian system. And I'm going to go back to Jack here because they're not done. They're still charging people today. They still plan to charge more people. And remember, a lot of these people did not get a fair shake. They're put in solitary confinement. So the 90+% of the people that they arrested and called insurrectionists, 90+% should have been processed. They should have been literally let out on their own recognizance, especially because of their past criminal records, which were non-existent in the majority of cases, right? And then tried and then charged with any kind of crimes that they had, including trespass, if they did destruction of property, et cetera, those things, and that was it. No, we got a circus show. We got this guy putting people in solitary confinement, putting them in prison for years and years and years, trying to act like that people had a coup plan. They were ready to coup. What? Wild. All right, let's go back to Jackie Boy, okay?
And our investigation of other individuals continues. In this case, my office will seek a speedy trial so that our evidence can be tested in court and judged by a jury of citizens. In the meantime, I must...
he's going to tell you, Nez, I must emphasize, everybody is innocent until proven guilty. It's ridiculous. We know what you want, buddy.
Emphasize that the indictment is only an allegation and that the defendant must be presumed innocent until proven guilty beyond a reasonable doubt in a court of law. I would like to thank the members of the Federal Bureau of Investigation who are working on this investigation with my office, as well as the many career prosecutors and law enforcement agents from around the country who have worked on previous January 6th investigations.
And we had to have whistleblowers come out of both of those organizations and say, what are we doing here? This is insane. Why have we turned the Justice Department on the American people? Why have we turned the Justice Department on a former president, not in the case of a war crime, Not in the case of an action such as a Cheney or a McCain or any of those fellas. Oh no. Oh no. Over disenfranchisement for questioning corrupt election processes. Wow. Encouraging, again, an insurrection that never happened. Going through the legal rigor of trying to get the correct outcome, which he believed to be correct. There's nobody out there that's presented any evidence that Trump thought he actually lost. I want to put that out there. And again, is it a thought crime now to believe that he actually won the election? I mean, they fortified it pretty good, huh? Fortified that election. So again, I don't love Jesse Waters. Jesse Waters now has the coveted Tuckins time spot, which, you know, that's the prime time. They gave Waters the prime time. Waters, especially on the issue of Ukraine, is terrible. And there's plenty of other things he's not great on. He does a good job of breaking down how ridiculous this indictment is with the indictment in his hand. So we're going to go to that next. And then we're going to come around to some more stories. We're going to talk a bit of Epstein. And remember, second hour, RVMRumble.com. That's where we're really going to get into the Disinfo disc info. The Disinfo disc info. Sounds like a new hot single.
Impaired the federal government from functioning. Isn't that literally the Republican Party platform to reduce the ability of the federal government from functioning? And then they say it's a crime to ask Pence not to certify? I wonder if Pence would agree that that was a crime. Apparently, the campaign managers told the defendant, Donald Trump, he had a 5 to 10% chance of winning these challenges, but he still fought on. The indictment said, how dare he? With 5 to 10% chance, I wonder what the guys in Vegas would say. You now have suspicious activity in Philadelphia, Detroit, and Arizona and Nevada. They're going to have to litigate suspicious election activity in all of those states. They're going to be presenting evidence, the defense.
They're not going to allow them to present the evidence. That's the new thing. That's what Waters doesn't get. So in other words, this judge is going to say things like, those claims have already been disproven or without standing in other courts. So we're just not going to let you. You think they're going to let Trump's lawyers present that information? Of course they're not. Of course, that you think that judge, this judge, this one right here, Tanya Chutkan, yeah, is going to let them even present that evidence. And even if it is presented, since it's not, that the lawyers are just going to continually say, well, look, in a court of law, it's all fake. Meanwhile, they're photoshopping Biden's face everywhere. They're giving, the dumbest things. Like, come on. They're blurring up his face and getting rid of why. I think the one on the left actually looks better for him. It's more natural. Come on. Give me a break. The doctored image. Look, Joe Biden's out of it. He's running nothing. We all know he's running nothing. And these charges they're dangerous. They basically say they can put you in prison for saying something they don't like. You say something they don't like and you're the president of the United States and you've been elected, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. We're putting you in jail. Yikes.
Is going to be presenting evidence. And then the prosecution is going to have to knock that down. We're going to relitigate all of these deep blue Democrat districts over the entire country in court in 2024 in an election year. Do you think that's healthy for the country, Jonathan Turley? And do you think that's a road that Democrats want to go down to defend the integrity of Philadelphia's election security? And then they're saying
they won't have to. I'm just saying they won't have to. Because, again, it's just going to be a stated fact. And they're going to have to move on.
Trump said the voting machines weren't secure. Again, we're going back to voting machines at trial in court in an election year. We're going to bring in voting machine executives who explain everything's fine, and then they're up on cross-examination.
Well, yeah, it's not. There's going to be certain questions you just can't even ask them. And then there might be lawsuits after the fact. And once they criminally get Trump, then the lawsuits will begin on behalf of these awesome voting machine companies. And the problem is that the infrastructure still hasn't changed. Why don't you talk about that, Jesse? Yeah, no, the voting machines should be done away with 100%. We don't need them. In fact, they are a detriment. Get them out. Get them out. Get them out. I want hand counts. I want audits. I want paper ballots. I want voter ID. Is that kooky? Or is that basic stuff? Basics. I want chain of custody. Chain of custody is big time. So, look, the indictment is ridiculous, but at the same time, I just feel like the fix is in. And by the way, the fix is in over at YouTube. We got 54 likes. Can we get 75? I'm not even asking for 100. We're almost halfway through the first hour. That's where we're at. And, let's just end waters there and get into Biden. Because the mainstream media, as we were showing you yesterday, is there to prop him up. They're there to say, oh, the alleged diary of the president's daughter has not been authenticated. Meanwhile, again, Veritas puts out a conversation that they had prior to the election in 2020, I think in October of 2020, with Ashley Biden. Everybody knew it was real. Everybody knew it was real. Everybody knew it was real. And by the way, that's another reason I love the breakup of James O'Keefe and Veritas, because now Veritas is putting out some stuff they've sat on for years. And maybe O'Keefe didn't want to put it out, or it's strategic timing. I don't like that. I want to put stuff out immediately. It's just in my nature. Get it out into the public arena because it is important. You don't withhold important information. Now, Biden himself, it's just, they've got his back. Bidenomics was born as a put down. Now it's a boast. No, it's not. I mean, these people. It's the Washington Post, of course. And it's an opinion piece, but come on. Kudlow, actually, he had some pretty smart things to say about Bidenomics. We're going to go to that right now. Let's get to it. Bam.
All right. A moment away from these scandals, there's a political debate stemming from the recent softening of inflation. As you might expect, last Friday, President Joe Biden baited Republicans by saying, go ahead, impeach me, because inflation has come down.
And, inflation hasn't come down. Let me repeat that. I was at the grocery store yesterday. Just basically 90% of it was to go get water. And I get the jugs of water. And there was a time I could get the Gerber jugs of water, and I liked those because they didn't add fluoride to them. They took them. I can't find them anywhere anymore. And now I get the distilled great value water usually. Or I usually try to find the distilled, etc. Used to be 88 cents, not a year ago, even maybe 6 months ago. 88 cents. It's $1.22. Okay, it's $1.22. So you've got a 34-cent increase on an 88-cent item. That's like a 40% inflation. Water, bottled water. Who's talking about that?
Ha, ha, ha. Well, Mr. President, your impeachability has nothing to do with the lower inflation rate. Big reason for that, by the way, is all the corruption charges popping up like tulips in springtime. But that's a subject for another if. It's the Federal Reserve tightening money supply and raising interest rates that has brought the inflation rate down. Now, I wouldn't get too cocky about it, Mr. President, because roughly 35% of voters disapprove of your economic policies. And mostly they're referring to inflation. Think of this, over the past 30 months, the level of consumer prices has gone up 16%, grocery prices up 20%, energy prices up 33%, and we're checking on the prices of Rehoboth Beach mansions for you, Mr. President.
Funny jokes, ha ha ha, But seriously, and I think that a lot of that stuff's low, but energy, 33%. This is the reality of Bidenomics. All right, we're going to come back. We're going to finish this clip. We're going to show another local news clip on Biden. And we're going to show the media portrayal of no scandals. Everybody loves Grandpa Joe. Everybody loves Hunter. It's just the greatest thing ever. We'll be back after this word from our sponsor.
We interrupt today's programming to bring unfortunate news. Biden's dangerous plan for a digital dollar is underway. Don't be fooled. It won't benefit you. So take action now. The Federal Reserve's phased deployment of FedNow began on July 1st, 2023. Be prepared. This may catch many off guard and put your hard-earned assets in jeopardy. But here's the good news. There's a simple legal tax loophole to opt out of the digital dollar. Speak to someone at American Alternative Assets for a free wealth protection guide and discover how to safeguard your wealth with gold and silver IRAs against a failing dollar and volatile markets. Dial 833, the number 2 USA Gold. Yes, call now, 833-287-2465. This invaluable guide provides precise steps to transfer your IRA or 401k into precious metals without any tax consequences. Don't let Biden force you into using the government's new digital dollar. Call 833, the number 2 USA Gold. Yes, call now. 833-287-2465. Act swiftly. 833-287-2465.
We are back. Thumbs it up, subscribe, and share. Remember, the second hour is exclusively over at the Red Voice Media Rumble page, rvmrumble.com. You can support the broadcast, redvoicemedia.com/uncensored, $10 a month, $100 for the year. It's how we keep it going. It's how I get to keep doing this stuff up here for 2 hours free, Monday through Thursday, 9 to 11 a.m. Eastern Time. And I love you guys for coming along on the ride. I want to get back to Kudlow because, another great example, I've talked about this one before, I see it in the comments section really quickly, is the fact that just baseline stuff. The dollar store is now $1.25. That's baseline 25% inflation. Baseline. And like I said, you look at water. Eggs have come down, but not to where they were. Okay? And gas really hasn't come down that much. That's huge. And energy has gone up. And it's not 7-8%. That's a bunch of Johnny mother trucking nonsense, and we all know it. So let's get back to Kudlow here.
Want to make sure your real estate wealth is intact. Gasoline was about $2 when you were elected. It did jump to $5 nationwide, but it's running about $3.75 today. Just in case you wondered, sir, $3.75 is higher than $2, and that's really your big problem. Now, I'm not sure inflation is dead altogether because we're seeing a big rally in commodities and gold and oil. That's recent, last month or two. But I want to raise a point that has nothing to do with politics, and that is the inflation rate can fall without putting the labor force out of work or driving up the unemployment rate. You can take a look at the chart from our pal David Bonson. It shows unemployment has stayed relatively low while year-over-year inflation has descended. There it is up on the full screen. For over 50 years or more, liberal economists have always argued that lower inflation requires high unemployment. It's called the Phillips curve. It's not true. The evidence has never proven the Phillips curve. Recently, Federal Reserve Governor Christopher Waller has been debating Larry Summers.
Larry Summers, one of the worst. Larry Summers, one of the worst. Larry Summers, one of the worst.
Former Obama and Clinton advisor. Summers thought the unemployment rate had to go to at least 5% to get inflation down.
And by the
Waller
way,
said no. There's plenty.
They're showing you those numbers. That's not the real unemployment rate. Again, so many of these people who are unemployed aren't counted. Underemployed, forget about it. Subsistence living. On top of that, people that are undocumented. Come on. That is not the real unemployment. I mean, there's just so many people that don't even want to work. Hey, I forgot to tell this story. And honestly, I thought I was going to kick off the show with it because it was so ridiculously annoying. Yesterday, I'm out and about. Okay, you want to talk about the economy and just how everything costs more, or whatever. That's one thing. But then just the people that they do hire in some of these jobs, forget about it. So I'm in Davenport, Iowa. I'm in the Quad Cities. I'm running errands, and I'm at a place that is close to the one Popeyes on this side of the river. Okay, there's a Popeyes over in Illinois. And I'm thinking to myself, I want some fried chicken, man. Now, it's a mixed bag. Often when I go to this Popeyes, either my order's messed up, I have to wait on the side for 15, 20 minutes for whatever reason afterwards. Although you're supposed to be able to go inside, sometimes they lock the doors and you have to literally go through the drive-thru. So, hey, I'm not expecting the world from Popeyes. However, I do expect that at 2:35 in the afternoon, when I drive up to the drive-thru, as I get to the drive-thru, I don't have an employee screaming at me from the parking lot in which they've locked the door so you can't go in, where all the employees apparently are sitting there outside in their cars smoking weed. And again, I don't care if you're smoking weed. I don't even care if you're smoking weed on your break at work, whatever, man. But you don't close down the shop so 6 people can be outside smoking weed. And as I drive to the drive-thru, you scream at me and say, "Hey, playa, we're not serving for another 15, 20 minutes. And I'm like, what? And he's like, yeah, no, 15, 20 minutes, sorry. And I have to drive away. What has happened? What has happened? By the way, guy was like a middle-aged man, the one that I saw. You know, I saw a couple of younger, probably 20-somethings in there. But who owns that franchise, and how are you hiring these people? I cannot imagine running a business, and I've been a manager at bars. I've run a pizza shop. I cannot imagine that in the middle of the day, I would shut down everything, go outside the store, and start passing the Dutchie to the left-hand side. And if anybody pulled up, which many people would do because you're a nationally advertised franchise to eat, you tell them no. Immediately would fire everybody. Just, can you imagine? Immediately would fire everybody. And then I would be there at either that or hire somebody that would be there 100% of the time. First of all, you'd have camera, not only the camera system, but the camera system tapped in 100% of the time live. Just, it boggled my mind. But it shows you how bad. I mean, I didn't think it could get worse than it did. I mean, it's not as bad as Larry Summers. As bad as that was, and as bad as that looks for America, it's not as bad as Larry there. But just, that's where we're at. All right, let's keep going.
Job openings to mitigate labor force tightening. Well, he was right. Summers was wrong. Lately, former Obama advisor and now Chicago Fed head Austin Goolsbee, he said the Phillips curve doesn't work. Right. I've been saying that for my whole professional career. This guy, A.W. Phillips, argued long ago, I think back in the 1950s, that lower unemployment would increase wages. Oh, all right, I think that's true. But he never said rising wages perforce causes higher inflation. Now, classical supply-siders have always argued that inflation is a monetary problem. Go back to Nobelist Milton Friedman or Robert Mundell or Art Laffer or even yours truly. A rising price level is a function of excess money created by the Fed, and you'll know it's too much money when commodity prices, including gold, start rising rapidly.
I think Kudlow is spot on here. We already know about not only the huge transfer of wealth through the COVID 1984 nightmare, but we know they printed up more like almost 9/10 of the current money supply. Like they printed cashola like you couldn't, an influx. That is all you people that took the free stuff. And I can't blame the business owners that took the free stuff. And I can't blame the workers that were laid off and need to pay for stuff that took the free stuff. A lot of scammers out there, though. And a lot of big-time scammers. They want to blame it on the little-time scammers. They learned it by watching you, right? It's like the old don't do drugs ads. They learned it by watching you. And those scammers were the real deal.
Or various bond market-based indicators of inflation go up. Point is, more people working is a good thing. Lower unemployment's a good thing. With the right tax incentives, more people working produce more goods, which is anti-inflationary. Hold the gold commodity value of the dollar steady, produce more goods, you'll get lower inflation with faster economic growth. That, by the way, is exactly what we need today. In the 70s, unemployment and inflation went up together. In the 80s and 90s, unemployment and inflation went down together. Think of that. Problem here is Joe Bidenomics is producing massive government spending, which may be responsible for as much as 45% of the recent rise in the economy.
And it's funding some of the worst. Your Build Back Better plan, remember, I know they called it an infrastructure bill after that slogan. That Bernaysian language didn't fly. But it's all ESG compliant. I'm watching, NASA. And they've got an ESG compliance officer, some Asian guy. And it's all about equity. He sits there and brags that if these universities and institutions want their money, they will abide by their rules. It shows you how they're going to work everybody out and how they have. That's what Bidenomics is.
45% coming from the government. That is not consistent with low inflation, nor is it sustainable growth. All those deficits, debt borrowing, could force the Fed to print too much cash, drive up commodities, drive down the dollar. In other words, Mr. President, you're inflating, or the Fed is trying to deflate. I don't want to impeach you for that. You've got enough alleged scandals on that score. I just want to tell you the policy is unhealthy to the future of this great country. That's not an impeachable offense, but it's going to lead to a long-run American decline.
Yeah, they know. Of course it is. That's the point. That's what this is. While they tell you that Bidenomics is working, the president's plan to grow the economy from the middle out and bottom up, not the top down. He's like, you got to have dignity. My daddy told me about dignity. I mean, I'm serious, Jack. The inversion of reality again is on full display. No scandals, no adultery, no bigotry, no collusion. There's never any collusion. No indictment, just grace and class personified. Just what are we talking about? We're not even talking. First of all, none of that's true. No adultery? Really? Is Tara Reid a liar that, she actually got grabbed by the you-know-what? I mean, Donnie T talked about grabbing him by the you-know-what. Did Tara Reid lie about Joey B doing that? Are you okay with all the sniffing, Jill? What about those inappropriate showers? Huh. No scandals. No son of a bitch. I mean, we're not on the verge of World War III, everybody. Just cartoon level Johnny nonsense. Okay, cartoon level Johnny nonsense. We've got one more segment coming up in the first hour. We're about to go to a break. After we go to break, we're going to talk about this Epstein news. We're going to talk about Unlimited Hangout and Jamie Dimon, and really how Whitney Webb has spearheaded a lot of the things that have now come out with these new court cases and continue to come out. And she's writing about them back in April, I think in May of this year as well. So really at the forefront of that, then we got a slew of other stories I'm going to want to hit. Second hour, rvmrumble.com. Second hour, rvmrumble.com. That's where we're going to get into the disinformation hour. Play more of that UAP hearing. Ooh, the UAPs are here, everybody. Watch out. It's the aliens. It's the aliens. All right, we'll be back after this. Thumbs it up, subscribe, and share.
Attention Americans, breaking news. Biden's dangerous plan for a digital dollar is underway. Don't be fooled. It won't benefit you. Take action now. The Federal Reserve phased deployment of FedNow began on July 1st, 2023. Be prepared. This may catch many off guard. Your hard-earned assets are in jeopardy. But there's a simple legal tax loophole to opt out of the digital dollar. Reach out to American Alternative Assets for a free wealth protection guide and discover how to safeguard your wealth with gold and silver IRAs against a failing dollar and volatile markets. Visit protectfrombiden.com. This invaluable guide provides precise steps to transfer your IRA or 401k into precious metals without any tax consequences. Be smart. Don't let Biden force you into using the government's new digital dollar. Visit protectfrombiden.com to get your free guide and get started. Again, that's protectfrombiden.com.
We are back. Final segment of the first hour. Remember, the second hour, we're going to be talking about the UAP hearings, the disinfo that is out there and being perpetrated by the establishment. It's just such a show hearing. It really does irk me, but hey, it's tough for somebody to be in a little place called reality sometimes, I guess it's just tough. Now, with all that being said, I want to talk about these stories. Now, first one. News, exclusive. FBI asked judge to block the release of secret Jeffrey Epstein files. Feds claim it would mess up the jury pool in possible Ghislaine Maxwell retrial. Here's the thing. News is usually an aggregate. It's been around since about 2020. I don't know of many exclusives. I haven't seen this reported anywhere else. It's a bombshell if true. If anybody else sees any corroboration of this, I've already asked the question on Twitter. I'd love a DM, not just a re-reporting of it from the news website, which we might see, but actual documentation. So prosecutors are gearing up for the retrial of Ghislaine Maxwell's sex trafficking case. In a sign, the Department of Justice expects it to be forced to go head-to-head with Maxwell in a courtroom for a second time. They have asked a New York judge to agree to the categorical withholding of the FBI's top secret files on her sex predator pal, Jeffrey Epstein. News.com has exclusively learned. The website Radar Online sued the FBI in 2017 and demanded they reveal their entire case against Epstein, the former friend of President Donald Trump, Bill Clinton, Bill Gates, and other famous identities who died in his Manhattan jail cell on August 10th that year. Ever since, the FBI and the Department of Justice have been relentlessly fighting to keep the majority of the documents from Radar Online and out of the public. In their latest filing, in the near 6-year lawsuit, Maureen Comey, the lead prosecutor against Maxwell, admitted the FBI is sitting on unreleased information that could impact a jury appeal in any appeal from Maxwell. You don't say. Oh, and again, the nepotism here is on display. Yes, that Comey is the daughter of former FBI Director James Comey, and has admitted the Epstein files include exhibits that were not publicly filed in the first trial, specific information about witnesses who may testify at a new trial, as well as information and documents authored by potential trial witnesses. Gee, you don't say. The files include topics and witness statements that go far beyond the issues covered during the first trial. Comey said in July 11th declaration of the United States District of Court in Southern New York. Southern District of New York. The SDNY, man, dangerous place. I think you got some good people there, but the people at the top, stranger danger. Danger, Batman. Danger, Will Robinson. Danger, danger, danger. That's the reality. Okay? Just putting that out there. Whitney Webb, here we go. Months ago, that's Unlimited Hangout, put out an investigation showing the same people behind Jamie Dimon were the same people behind, you guessed it, Jeffrey Epstein. And this one is in March, so it's March and April. The rise of Jamie Dimon as J.P. Morgan's ties to Jeffrey Epstein are being scrutinized in court. Whitney Webb reveals how the same powerful players who brought Epstein to prominence were largely responsible for the rise of J.P. Morgan CEO Jamie Dimon. And when you look at these things, I could have spent the entire first hour on this article. See this? See this? Yeah. Easily. Entire first hour on this article. In fact, who knows? Maybe the entire first hour of the show tomorrow will be on this article. This is an extensive piece. I mean, boom. And that's the first part. This is why Whitney Webb's work is absolutely some of the seminal work out there, and that's in April of this year. So ahead of the curve, as always, well documented, as always. Perhaps that is something that we are going to have to hit on, but I want to bounce through these stories that we still haven't gone over. Financier 55 now faces 75-count indictment as he's accused of raping and plying girl 14 with drugs after passing her off as his daughter as he denies the charges. Okay, this is a big-time New York financier. Midtown Manhattan hotel room. See, right there? It's just unbelievable. 14-year-old girl he's claimed to have been with in Midtown Manhattan room overdosed on cocaine, ketamine, and Xanax. This guy. Okay? That guy. This guy. Take a good look at him. Okay? Just putting that out there. I talked about Bidenomics. Yeah, this is what we're funding. Ohio LGBTQ plus Youth Center, funded by taxpayers, teaches kids as young as 11 the fundamentals of drag in monthly classes run by a drag. Again, you think you're cartoon level. What is going on here? And taxpayer dollars are paying for this. We are paying for this clown show. It's Halloween. I mean, look. What else do you say to that? It's Halloween. The Colors Plus Youth Center. Yeah, there you go. Former ABC reporter and subject of right-wing conspiracy theories pleads guilty to transporting child sex abuse material. Yes, the right-wing conspiracy theories are that this man right here, and who knows, Tucker Carlson has asked the question. This guy's pleading guilty. This is a guy that debunked a bunch of the pedogate stuff, a bunch of the pizza stuff. He was very much a debunker of this. Now, is he being set up? I don't know. I don't necessarily think so. This is James Gordon Meek, and he faces up to 40 years in prison for the material that they say he had. Former ABC News reporter James Gordon Meek pleaded guilty Friday to child sex abuse charges. Meek admitted to sending and receiving images of abused children. After the FBI raided Meek's home last year, Tucker Carlson suggested he was being targeted for his reporting. Now, I don't know that he was. I do not know that he was. And, again, if you go back long enough, he was a big, big debunker. You know what? Let's see if we can bring up his name. We're probably going to have to do it in DuckDuckGo. Let's do that. Let's go a little ducky. Thumbs it up, subscribe, and share. Still not 100 thumbs after almost an hour. Can't get 100 thumbs, YouTube. Remember, that second hour is rvmrumble.com. rvmrumble.com. All right, so come on. I did that there. That's what I wanted. DuckDuckGo. A lot of ducks came up. We're ducking it up. That's not what I wanted. I wanted Pizzagate. Let's see. Yes, here we go. Valuetainment put that out. Good for them. That's interesting about this. The FBI raided a notable journalist's home. Rolling Stone didn't tell the readers why. And that's NPR. That's interesting. So let's see what we have to say here. Let's see about the debunking. See, this is The New York Post put this out. Do we have his articles where he was debunking this stuff? There's the affidavit. I want to see the article where he debunked it. So you notice you can't find that? Come on. Let's try this. We shouldn't have to put it in quotes. Let's see. 2023. All this stuff is new. I want to go into the archives. See if we could find news. Not anytime. Not past month or past day. Doesn't look good, guys. Maybe we'll try to find it for tomorrow, since we are strapped for time here. All right, let's continue on. Let's see. I do want to do this one right here. Ray Epps' attorney fires back at Joe Rogan's January 6th false flag absurdity. Justin Baragona, or however you say it, is one of the worst, man. I see his stuff on Twitter. Talk about establishment loser, journalist hack. Like, look, January 6th was caused by Rogan. If Rogan is truly interested in focusing on who instigated the January 6th riots, Epps' lawyer said he would find more truth in looking in the mirror. It's Joe Rogan, man. It's Joe Rogan. And people love Bidenomics. We love it.
This summer, the Biden administration has gone all in on Bidenomics. The president, vice president, and cabinet members crisscrossing the country to convince Americans their economic plan is working.
You see more of the things that you need in order to...
There's Pete Bootlicker, the transportation secretary, and one of the most disastrous and accident-ridden times I've ever seen in my life, if not the most. Especially when we're talking, obviously, about the train stuff, the possible collisions of planes at airports. And again, this is an infrastructure guy. Yeah.
Really have a sense of vibrancy in a community.
However, a new CBS poll finds 59% of adults say they haven't read or heard much or anything at all about Bidenomics. For those who have heard about Bidenomics, when asked what comes to mind when they hear the word, the top answers are higher inflation, tax increases, investment in infrastructure, and job creation. The latest
they talk about the first two things, which are totally negative. And then they talk about the buzzwords. Biden didn't create any jobs, man. What planet are we on? And they told you it was an infrastructure bill. What infrastructure? Like what, the infrastructure to tear this country apart and have it bend the knee to globalism? Come on.
Reading of consumer confidence from the Conference Board shows people are starting to feel better about the economy and the direction it's headed. But it's not necessarily translating politically for President Biden, at least not yet. His approval rating still hovers around 40%,
much lower in
Gallup,
reality.
And the Republicans hoping to replace him are trying to capitalize on that.
We are today declaring our economic independence from the failed elites and policies that have harmed this nation's middle class.
Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, whose struggling campaign is going through a reset, rolled out his...
And notice again how they're pushing DeSantis. They want DeSantis. They want DeSantis to be the nominee.
Three-part economic plan Monday to, as he puts it, take economic control back from China, grow the economy faster, and achieve quote-unquote energy independence.
Well, hello, Iowa!
Candidates polling even lower, trying bolder proposals. Former Vice President Mike Pence going all in on lowering inflation, supporting an overhaul of the Federal Reserve to eliminate its mandate to protect jobs. And, along with former UN Ambassador Nikki Haley,
and we're going to go tell them times have changed.
Looking at raising the retirement age for Social Security and Medicare to ensure the programs stay afloat.
Bidenomics, no thanks. All right, guys, we're going to hit one more commercial, but if you want to see that second hour, rvmrumble.com, rvmrumble.com. Did I say rvmrumble.com? I'm going to say rvmrumble.com. You want to support the broadcast, redvoicemedia.com/uncensored. You go to rvmrumble.com, by the way, and the stream lasts till 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time. It's good times. McGrady, I love you guys, and we will see you on the flip.
We love the internet, but the internet is tracking everything you do. Take control of your online privacy with IP Vanish. People with malicious intent are everywhere, watching you, Criminals can hack your Wi-Fi, while broadband providers and advertisers monitor your data. With IPVanish on your device, your internet activity is encrypted. No one can see what you're doing. Your location, your connection, completely hidden. Protect your internet privacy today with IPVanish.